My name is Kennadie Philpott, and this is my audience. Have you ever heard of the Pay It Forward Act? Well, what it is people do random acts of kindness, and in return, we're supposed to pass it along. Today, I'm here to challenge you to do the Pay It Back movement. So, the people who took care of us when we were younger, it's time for us to take care of them while they're older. As Tina Walker says, to care for those who once cared for us is one of the highest honors. So just like your babysitter who took care of you when you were younger, they might be a little older now and you might have the chance to take care of them. This past summer, I've had the chance to work in a nursing home as a CNA, and a CNA is a certified nurse's assistant. So I feed them, bathe them, change them, get them ready for bed, just the general stuff like that. And there was this lady there, and she hasn't talked in years to anybody. And I would take care of her, and I would say, "Hey, so-and-so, my name is Kennedy. I'm going to be your CNA today. Is there anything I can do for you?" And I would just say that over and over again every time I went to the room, just so it might trigger something for her to say something. And one day I was pushing her from the dinner table to her bedroom, and she just said, "Kennedy," like she just screamed my name, and it was so exciting. That it just shows that they just need time, and you just need to be patient with them, that they know you're there and they want you to care for them. They want your attention. So today I'm going to talk to you about the elderly abuse, elderly neglect, and negative stereotypes for the elderly. So I love old people, and so I just had an awesome chance to meet that lady and just to serve them at the nursing home. And this says, "When grace is joined with wrinkles, it is adorable. There is an unspeakable dawn in happy old age," from Victor Hugo. So another one says, Leviticus 19:32, "You shall rise up before the gray-headed and honor the aged." So that's a good one. That's like the one in the Bible that talks about honor your father and mother, that we should respect them as elders, and we should just be patient with them. Also, according to the Justice Department, 10% of seniors are abused each year, and that's from the Washington Post. So abuse can be physical, emotional, abandonment, financial, and even sexual abuse. Physical abuse could be just being too rough with them. They might have bruises on them. Emotional is just being really rude and just hurting their feelings. Neglect is like leaving somebody at a nursing home and never calling them or coming to visit them or giving them the supplies they need. And financial is like stealing from them, stealing their money, stuff like that, stealing their things. The other one is neglect, and it says elderly abuse is a real problem and only 1 in 23 cases are actually reported. That's the Health US News, and that also goes along with neglect too. Neglect can be a part of abusing an elderly person. And so I just don't understand why why people don't care for old people as they would children, because they're somewhat the same. People call me the babysitter of the elderly people, because I'm doing all the same stuff as I would if I was babysitting a little kid, but they're just older in age. The final thing I'm going to talk to you about is negative stereotypes. I took a survey, and it was just, I said, when I say elderly people, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? And they were like grumpy, rude, maybe even smelly at some point. And I was just like, oh, okay. And then they asked me, and I was like, loving, caring, funny, like just stuff like that. And they're like, why do you say that? And I was like, well, I don't know. Maybe I spend more time with them because I work with them. And I hear all kinds of stories. I hear people who's been pilots, nurses, janitors, every kind of people, because they were once our age and they're telling us stories from way back when, and it was just really cool to see the difference. But it's from The Guardian. It says, "Why don't we care about the older people as much as children? One reason may simply be that we naturally focus our sympathies and attention on the new generation rather than the old." So that's just an example, and that's from the Guardian website. And so I don't really understand that, because they're the same. Like, we should care for people who are different, and like we should care about people for all ages and all colors and just stuff like that. Also, the plan of action is by the grace of God, that I just pray that God would bring it on our hearts to serve everybody, especially the elderly people. And I think if we had many volunteers to just come up and volunteer at the nursing homes, I mean, we can even help the people in our community that are elders. I know there's tons of people in my community that just need help, like mowing the grass, taking their trash out, just simple stuff like that. And that's where we could start, by helping the elderly people. And that's what I challenge you today, is even at the grocery store, our neighborhoods, the churches, the stores, places like that. Also, it says almost every stereotype we associate with people being elderly is something negative, from being crotchety, unwilling to change, and to being forgetful. That's another one, being forgetful. I also have another resident, and she has Alzheimer's, so she forgets a lot, but she's also very outgoing and very funny, because you'll be walking beside her, she says, "Who are you and where are you going again?" And we'll tell her, and then as soon as we walk by again, she says, "Who are you and where are you going again?" So it's really funny to us, and she even laughs along with us, because she doesn't know. She's just there to have fun. And we tell her jokes all the time, and she'll even memorize the jokes just so she can tell it back to us. It's really a good feeling that she's there and that we're there, and we're just there to talk to her and for us to be patient with her, because she just wants the attention and she wants the affection that we give her. Also, another point is, what would we do without our grandparents? Who would we get Christmas presents from? Who would we invite to our soccer games or basketball games or stuff like that? If we didn't have our grandparents, our parents would be in a lot of trouble. Like, who would be our babysitters? Think about all the times that you went over to your grandparents' house for a summer trip, or just to go and talk to them. So I encourage you to go and just call your grandparents every now and then, and just ask them to tell you stories, because one day they're not going to be here and you're going to really miss them. It says in 2047, people who are older than 60 will be more than the people that are less than 16, and that's also from The Guardian. So just think about that. In 30-something years, the people like who are my age, I'm 19, I'm going to be an elder, and I'm going to want the younger generation to care for me when I'm not allowed, when I can't do stuff like that. Also, for Eleanor Roosevelt, she said, "Beautiful young people are accidents of nature, but beautiful old people are works of art." If we thought of all the elderly people as works of art, think about how much better your stereotype would be for them, or your attitude towards them. Think about all the people who are there in your church and community who need your help to do the simple stuff, and you can be the one to sit there and help them do the simple stuff that you can do for them. So that's my challenge to you, is to help the elders overcome elderly abuse, elderly neglect, and change your attitude towards the negative stereotypes for elders. And this is my audience.